after you started getting, beat up on the phones and having that environment, that great environment at the office help out, what was it that kept you going? What was it that kept you, reinvesting and back into the office and back on the phones?
So I think it was the main thing was the support and the help that was coming around. Like I already knew what was possible. And for me, possibility is the fuel that I use possibility as a fuel. I don't use like, this is what I'm going to do. I don't use any of that. I use possibility, right? Because possibility on a bad day still works, right? That's the currency that you can still use to move forward. And so it was like, I would talk to Tim Murphy, Samika, I'll talk to you. I would call you about everything, every appointment after I finished the day. I would say, hey, can I run this day by you? And you were like, yeah, just give me 10 minutes or whatever, and I would just tell you what happened. And because I know that every time we go out, we're learning something, but I don't want to keep learning the same thing, not knowing that I'm learning. You know what I mean? So if I share with someone who's been where I'm going, then I can turn my decades into days. And it was just the willingness of so many people pouring into me, where, I mean, a lot of the people that poured into me, even if I go out and sell $119 million, they're not going to get a red penny, but they still poured in. I had Jerry Rufino actually help me close one of my appointments because I couldn't get anybody else. So I called him because I remember watching his deal on YouTube, and he talked to the clients, right? And I was like, man, this is legit. It's like a real family. And people aren't like, well, who's your upline? Well, who brought you in? Well, call them. I don't have time for this, and they're not trying to split commissions or nothing. It was just like a genuine help, because at the end of the day, what matters is these people asked for help and we said we would help them. And so that kept me, and it keeps me to this day, it keeps me buying leads. It keeps me doing the next thing. It's the reason why I'll do the same thing for people when they call me and ask for help, because this is in the New England Patriots, they say it's the Patriots way. This is the FFL way, right? We just help people. We help agents, because if we help agents, those agents can help more families, and that's just the way it works, But it's just knowing that the possibility is still there is what keeps me getting up, in spite of what the score is today, right? I've had really good days. I've had days where I got eggs, but I'm not there because I got eggs or didn't get eggs. I'm there because there's still more families to help, and then also when I was 6 years old, my dad was murdered, and so my dad was murdered when I was 6, and I remember my dad. I remember a lot about my dad, and I remember he was mean, but he wasn't mean. He was just a dad, And I remember I said, I hope my dad doesn't come home, and then he didn't, and so there were sorry. So there was these three. I remember seeing 3 shadows come by the shadows were going through the window, and they knocked on the door, and then I heard some whispers, and my mom brought us all in there, and she said, they found your dad. He had been missing for like 3 days, and I said what I said because I didn't want to get any more whoopings. You know what I mean? But when they said that they found my dad, I was thinking it was my fault, but and then for the next 6 years, we moved from one house to the next house, from one school to the next school, and I got bullied and all this stuff for the next 6 or 7 years. And it wasn't until I got older that I realized that my dad didn't have any life insurance, and I don't know how much of the struggle it would have taken away, but I know it would have helped if there was something there. So when I learned that, that's what made me want to get into this industry, because death is something that we can't avoid, but we can definitely avoid the financial strain that comes, and if someone, and I tell my clients all the time, you don't have to leave your family $1 million, just make it to where they don't have to dig from the future to fix the past. Just put something in place so that, I mean, at least pay for your way out of here. You don't have to leave them a fortune. Just pay for your way out of here. And so it means that to me. That's another reason why. That's the main reason why I get up and keep going, because these people ask for help, and I don't know if my mom ever asked for help or not. I don't know. My mom was 32, and my dad was 33 whenever he was murdered, and they might not have ever thought about that back then, at that time, because you have your whole life ahead of you. My dad was super healthy, right? And one day somebody just decided that they didn't think he should live anymore. And we never know when that time is going to happen. And I thought about that this weekend, actually, because I had a 7-year-old lead that nobody ever got to. And I went by the house, knocked on the door, and the guy answered, and I said, "Are you Tatum?" And he said, "My dad passed away." And I just felt like, man, we missed him. We missed him, He said, yeah, he passed away about 3 years ago, and that was a 7-year-old lead that nobody had ever gotten to. We can't get them all, but man, it's worth the try. I had another one that was 7 years old that it was a $2.50 mortgage protection lead, and I drove up on his house. He was pulling out of the driveway, and I just rolled down my window and waved, and he thought I was asking for directions. I said, "Are you Charles?" He said, "Yeah, I'm Charles." And I pulled out the sheet and I said, "Well, this has your name on it, and according to our records, no one's ever helped you." And I said, "I know you're about to leave. I'm actually leaving too, but if you got 10 minutes, we can take care of this." And he pulled in his driveway. He said, "Can we do it in the driveway?" I said, "Yeah." And in 22 minutes, he had a policy, and that felt so good. And the only reason why nobody had gotten to him, because he doesn't answer his phone. And so I realized that, don't worry about people who don't answer their phone. Go by their house, because you never know who's sitting there waiting. He said, I just figured nobody was ever going to come. And then he told me, "I'm glad it was you." I said, "I'm glad I got to meet you, man." But you have to love people, and you can't be afraid to get your knees dirty, your hands dirty. You can't be afraid to just go that extra piece. If they don't answer the phone, don't just throw the leads away.
I love it. So, I mean, JB, and I just want to stop and say that, I mean, it's definitely a blessing having you part of the team. Definitely part of Family First Life. I'm sure every single person that's on can see why you're successful. And I appreciate you sharing that story and getting, opening up to us and sharing that. That's what I was hoping that you'd share with the team. Because I know your story and I know your why. And that's what it can be 11 p.m. It can be 1 a.m. You call, I'm going to answer.
Yeah.
I know that you're helping people from the bottom of your heart, and you're doing this, like someone just said here in the message, with purpose. And that's why you're not going to fail. You're not going to fail at all. But I want, guys, if you don't have a story, if you personally don't have a story, use someone's story. Chantel always says, facts tell, stories sell. And no matter how many numbers we see on the leaderboards, no matter what, the stories are going to be the things that keep us going, like your purpose, your why. And when we find our client's story, that helps us help them, right? When we find an agent's story, that helps us help them. And it's not all about numbers. The numbers are going to, guys, the money is a byproduct of what we do. The money is going to come. The money is going to come because it's inevitable. But you actually caring for your client, getting their story, right? Using other people's stories to share with your clients, because you're expecting them to share. Why wouldn't you share a little bit about you? Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that really is, the reason that they trust you so much, JB, to give you referrals, to help, have you go out and help other people that they know too, because you've opened up to them. You care. So I love that. I got chills. I got emotional. So if nothing else, guys, this is it. This is the highlight of the meeting, of the Zoom. Use a story, use someone's story, share your story with your clients.